The Bible says that if you don't follow my decrees, I will send an army from distant land. It does. It does. So it would seem like, and yes, America has fallen away from the foundational values, much of America, but not everybody. I mean, for the most part, most people still, we have more people that just weren't given the right history with the Pilgrims, which again is all on foundersarchives.gov, all that. We know the evidence of that. It just it wasn't taught to the generations after Gen X. So the history started being changed, especially the stuff about, the covenant made with God. So here's the thing. I've said before, and it's in the Bible, how you're running a race. Well, really, the nations have always been running a race. I mean, God's looking for the nation that he should exalt. And he's looking for the nation that exalts his son, Jesus Christ. And again, he said the heirs of Abraham aren't necessarily the genetic line. It's if they believe Christ. What nation most has believers that Christ was the Messiah? America. So all the nations have been at war with America or hate America because, look, you have the Israeli government, you have the Palestinian government, or just the Middle East governments, most of them, see us as infidels because we believe Jesus Christ is the Messiah. So they see us as the enemy because they believe whatever they do. But again, just look at what their history is. Look at the history of this constant bloodshed. America hasn't had that kind of fighting in its homeland like Israel has, like the Middle East has, like many. We haven't lived under a communism the likes of a China. So, and again, we are a small country. If China wanted to take us over, they could. If Russia wanted to, they could. They're huge compared to us. And they have the technology. They have the advantage. They haven't. One, because they wouldn't be successful because when the Pilgrims made the covenant with God, it put a seal on this nation. So like Israel has to have their own iron dome to protect them. Well, our dome is Jesus. He protects this land because it was founded with him. And that founding has gone on to generation after generation of teaching children. The next generation, it kind of stopped, I guess, after Gen X, but teaching that, no, Jesus Christ is the Messiah. So it's the nation where you have the most people that believe Jesus was Messiah. So if God is looking for the country, because he did this all in the Bible, in the Old Testament most especially, is, taking people to a land, wanting to give them that. Let's see, are they going to keep it? Are they going to keep knowing the truth? Are they going to keep, if they want their nation to win the race? He says, win the race. Fight the good fight. Fight to win the race. Well, what's the race? I mean, you can look at it as an individual race, but then it dawned on me. I'm like, no, it's a race of nations. So it's very simple. Really, the nation that God is looking for to bestow blessings on is the nation that follows Jesus Christ. I mean, yeah, all the other religions can say what they want, but there's a reason America hasn't been taken over and hasn't had massive amounts of bloodshed on our soil. Now, 9/11 was a horrible event. You could say that maybe God, in some ways, you could say God's teaching us a lesson, but I think more we're being invaded by these other countries because, well, God's decided who the country is that has tried the best they can to stay close to honoring what his will is. I mean, we're totally sinful. We have a military-industrial complex that's been a disgrace to this nation. But that's what would happen. God knows that that's what would happen, is that the enemies of a country where people believe in Jesus as the Messiah, we would be infiltrated the most, because they've never been able to directly take us down. Again, because of the seal. Our Iron Dome is literally God himself. Otherwise, there's absolutely no reason that we should have easily been able to be taken over. So even though it looks horrible, it looks like it's totally, we're over. But what happens in the Bible most often is God uses these events, well, to wipe them all out. Yeah. To wipe them all out. God knows we've had nothing but infiltrators in government through all these different secret societies that are dark and twisted in the universities like Yale and Harvard and all of them. And mostly Yale and Harvard are in the House and Congress. So, but all the universities have these secret societies. Yeah, they couldn't take America head on. So they had to find other ways. Because they don't want America, they don't want God to exalt America. It's the truth, because that's what God's looking for, is the nation to give to be his heritage. I'm not saying all of those other nations are wiped out, not at all. It's if you looked at it on a whole worldwide scale, and every country is in a race, and the race is who is going to be most pleasing to God. Well, the number one thing is we're definitely not perfect, for sure, but we started with the values of Jesus Christ. That's always what God was looking for, because so many nations always fell back into the idol worshiping and the pagan stuff. They did. Oh, it's over and over again, and then God's like, just hand them over. And then he lifts protection. And then they end up with the bloodshed of the Middle East and the constant fighting with Israel. But yet we've been told, no, they're all after Israel because they're the special people. Some of them are, yeah, that believe in Jesus for sure. That's how it goes in every country. So I'm not disregarding the people. But the governments, who were the people that persecuted and handed over and put Jesus to death? The leaders. The leaders of the church, the leaders of the government. Yeah, that's who didn't want Jesus around. The people wanted him around. The everyday people, just like the everyday people in the Muslim world, the everyday people in Israel, the everyday people in China, wherever. There's many people in all those countries that believe in Jesus Christ being the Messiah too, and God doesn't just disregard them. But he's looking for one nation, just like in the Bible, that is an example that, is what he wants to exalt. And what he wants to exalt and give, the prize to, you could say, the crown to, is the nation that most aligns with what the truth is. And the truth is that Jesus was the Messiah. That's America. Which is why so many people have always been out to hurt America. We have a lot of bad people that have taken us into wars and everything. But if you look at the history of most other countries, they're either in total communism, they have constant bloodshed and terrorist attacks. Middle East is a perfect example of that. Yes, we had 9/11, a huge, horrible event. But we haven't had what the Middle East, Israel, all these other countries go through, or live in famine and poverty. We've been an exalted nation. And so that's why our enemies are coming after us. And God is letting them come after us. Because what does God do in the Bible over and over again? He loves to show his great glory by making everybody think that you're going to take this whole nation down. And really, what it'll be for all of us is the greatest fireworks show we've ever seen.